I'm going to start with the frame that froze the internet. A single snap of Justin Bieber next to Kendall Jenner that launched 1,000 think pieces, a 100 breakup rumors, and at least 3 friendship charts that look like NFL playbooks. But before you decide you've cracked the code, do me a favor. Watch with me to the end because there's one tiny detail almost everyone missed that flips the whole story on its head. Andy's. We'll talk about Hailey's cryptic posts, Justin's clapback, Kendall's cheeky reply, the wild AI verdict on whether the bears actually look happy that Bieber doppelganger walking around with a security guard. Life's a never-ending meet and greet, and the resurfaced Kendall, Justin, and Selena triangle that fans keep resurrecting every few months. It's a seasonal flavor. You'll leave with receipts. Context, and a reality check that might save your group chat from another late-night conspiracy spiral. So, picture this. You're doom scrolling in absolute peaceful, hydrated, cozy, thriving. When bam, up pops Justin beside Kendall. No caption needed. The comments start faster than a flash sale. He posts with everyone except his wife. His outside. What does this mean? She's telling a story with her hands again. I'm calling .my lawyer. The internet has 2 speeds, chill and courtroom, and in seconds we're at trial. Exhibit A is the photo. Exhibit B is the assumption that if Justin appears next to anyone other than Hailey, a meteor must have hit the marriage. It's dramatic. It's delicious. It's also flimsy because of the plot twist. Lands almost immediately. Justin, who usually lets noise burn itself out, doesn't let this one marinate. He posts a fresh shot with Hailey, clothes, smiling, that low-key luxury vibe. Lighting is set to muted honeymoon. It is less a clapback and more relaxed, guys. We had brunch. And for anyone still furrowing their brows, there's the comedic cherry on top. An AI summary floating around that basically declares, they look happy. Only in 2025 do we ask the robot to confirm the vibes. The future is here, and apparently it's grading body language like a substitute guidance counselor. Jokes aside, the AI call-out becomes the perfect meme, equal parts ridiculous and oddly affirming. Because the whole point of posting with your partner after the internet spirals is to remind people that you two exist in the same universe, not as co-stars in a very own fantasy league. Now, let's talk about the thing that quietly keeps this cycle spinning. Expectations. Ascertain segments of the internet track who posts whom, how often, how captioned, and whether the emojis include hearts, sparkles, or a carefully rationed black square. If the ratio dips, rumor graphs rise. Here's the honest truth. Real couples have ebbs and flows online. Some weeks, it's curated soft launch energy. Some weeks it's just a phone full often of photos and a brutal screen time notification. But the parasocial economy loves patterns and punishes silence. So a candid with Kendall becomes a butterfly effect. If a tree posts in the forest and your partner isn't tagged, did you even live today? That's the level of logic we're dealing with. Meanwhile, Hailey updates her Instagram with a vibey soundless video, a clenselfy, a disco ball moment, and instantly we've got dissertations. Is she teasing something? Is it a campaign? Energy? Is it that I'm unbothered? The fun of a cryptic carousel is that it lets people project entire storylines. It's fashion. It's mood. It's maybe me, have news? Maybe I don't. But most importantly, it's content. Notice what's not in there. Justin. Cue the symmetry. Police again. See, she didn't post him. Either. Which sort of proves the point. Both of them are public figures who sometimes share the relationship and sometimes don't. It's less a chessboard. And more a calendar. Not everything is aim sage. Sometimes it's just a mirror. Selfie and a playlist you're not sharing yet. Now, because it's the internet where rumors breed quicker than fruit flies, the broke Bieber narrative makes its cameo. It's a persistent one, always dressed up like a scoop and always allergic to maths. The same scroll that claims financial doom will be in 5 days, gasp about a private jet that costs more than an entire skyline. The fixation is less about truth and more about the dopamine hit of extreme contradiction. His down bad, and his ultra-lux. Viral. His fine. His working is not. Toss in the perennial paper straw rant. If you've ever tried to finish an iced coffee before your straw composted in the cup, you've earned that rant and you've got an entire ecosystem of outrage. Private jets are real. Environmental impact is real. So is public performance. But spinning any one detail into proof of a marriage's health or a bank account status is the definition of reach. Where things get spisher and frankly funnier is the Kendall comment thread. Hailey jokes about Kendall telling a story with her hands. Kendall fires back with a line that basically says, I'm a visual storyteller. Sue me. That's my best friend. Banter. The kind of read that lands soft because it's built on actual rapport. If you squint, you can spin it into friction. If you unclench, it's exactly what it looks like. Friends teasing in public the way people do in real life every day. One of the internet's biggest misreads is assuming every celebrity interaction is a coded press release. Sometimes it's just the group chat. Energy leaking into the comments, and honestly, it's charming. Then there's the doppelganger, the man, the myth, the Bieber strutting around like Saturday Night is a world tour. And the velvet rope is a personal boundary. Lookalikes say a staple of pop culture. For some it's cosplay. For others, it's a side hustle. For a few, it's a lifestyle. Add a security guard, and you've got a performance inside a performance. It's strange. Sure. It's also the perfect metaphor for the rest of the story. Proximity to the image is not the same as the reality. You can look like the headline and still be just a headline. And that disparity is exactly why the Kendall's photo blew up, because the image looked like a plot twist regardless of whether the lives attached to it actually twisted. Alright, let's open the time capsule, because the reason for this, the latest Kendall Justin moment detonated. That it lights up old wiring in the fandom brain. The 2014 Coachella era, the didn't he speculation, the Selena Jenner unfollow saga, and the rumor that Kendall helped connect Justin and Hailey in the first place. Here's the sober version. For years, there have been whispers that Kendall and Justin had something during the on-off Selena years. There's never been hard proof, just a breadcrumb trail of vibes, photos, and the internet's tireless desire to fill gaps with whatever narrative is currently trending. What's actually documented? Shifts in friendships, follows and unfollows, overlapping circles, the messy normal of young famous people figuring out relationships while the rest of us keep score like it's a playoff series. The question, did Justin cheat on Selena with Kendall? Resurfaces because it's juicy, not because something new has made it more true. And the grown-up answer, the one people avoid because it doesn't trend, is that all involved have moved on. You can memorialize the drama. Museum in your mind if you want. It doesn't mean the exhibits are still open. There is also a bigger media literacy note here that's worth parking in. When a story involves 3 or more ultra-famous names, coverage multiplies, context shrinks, and algorithms reward the loudest leaps. Swipe through enough sensational tiles, and your brain starts stitching them together as if the last slide was a conclusion rather than a college. That's how you end up with takes like, he posted with Kendall, therefore he disrespects Hailey, therefore the marriage is a contract, therefore the jet is a cover, therefore this is PR, therefore everything is fake. Sometimes, in the simplest way possible, a photo is a photo. If anything, Justin's quick share with Hailey afterwards reads less like panic. And more like, not today, Satan. A temperature check, a reset button. It worked. The comments are chilled, memes pivoted, and the conversation moved on. Still, I get why people spin. Pop culture fandom thrives on the breadcrumb bunt, the ring on or off, the caption with or without a heart, the camera angle. You're sure someone chose to hide a vibe. We've trained ourselves to be detectives without remembering you need evidence to make a case. And the funniest part, the only confirmed and record conversation between the players here is a playful exchange about hand gestures. That's it. The rest is interpretation wrapped in nostalgia dusted with parasocial sugar. It tastes great. It's not a balanced meal. Now, about that AI verdict, the algorithm that blurted out, they look happy. It's absurd and perfect. We're in a moment where people will accept a machine's confidence score as emotional clarity because it gives a clean answer to a messy question. But relationships aren't spreadsheets and body language isn't a math problem. The better question is not do they look happy? It's what do their actions over time suggest? And if you take the wide-angle view, public appearances, year-on-year projects, shared travel, mutual support, the otherwise ordinary posts that don't go viral, it paints a picture of 2 people figuring it out like everyone else, just with better lighting and worse privacy. Let's not skip over the part where Kendall's friendship with both bears muddies the fans' binary thinking. People want team wife versus enemy friend. Real life rarely obliges. Kendall can lose to Justin and Hailey and keep iTunes eventful. That's boring to the rumor machine, which is why it keeps diving back into the archives for something specific. But play this forward. Logically. If Kendall was the one who helped reconnect Justin and Hailey back in the day, then the most consistent outcome is exactly what we often see. 3 adults who are comfortable enough to appear together without it meaning anything scandalous. The past can be messy and still lead to a stable present. Here's where the missed detail I teased at the top sneaks in. When Justin posted with Hailey right after the Kendall shot and exploded, he didn't add a 3-paragraph caption, a notes app, a ran all caps declaration. He let the image does the talking. In crisis PR land, silence after a scandal looks evasive, oversharing looks defensive. A simple, happy image is what you use when your goal isn't to refute a rumor point by point, but to deprive it of oxygen. That's the playbook move. Replace speculation with a fresher image and the timeline resets. It's subtle, it's smart, and it worked. Most folks shifted from "why won't he post her?" "too cute." The narrative inflation popped in under 24 hours. As for the lookalike saga, there's a reason it hits nerve endings. Celebrity doubles exploit the gap between image and intimacy. They remind us how much of this world is costume and choreography. A dude who looks like Justin walks like Justin and hires someone to look like they protect Justin is basically holding up a mirror to the culture saying, "You don't love Justin, you love the idea." It's a little cringy. It's also an unintentional PSA. If we can be fooled by a haircut and a hoodie, maybe we should be slower to diagnose a real marriage from a single photograph. By now you might be thinking, Pushifer, where does this leave us? Here, famous people are posting. With famous friends is not a referendum in their spouses. Cryptic carousels are fun, not subpoenas. AI can't measure a relationship. Rumors resurrected from the 2014 vault deserves the same skepticism they did in 2014. And the quickest way to stabilize a wobbler timeline is the oldest. Show your partner. Don't explain your partner. It's almost quaint. In a world obsessed with narrative, the bears used a picture. Like a period. Sentence over. If you've stuck with me this far, here's your bonus cheat sheet for the inevitable next cycle. When a new photo drops and you feel the urge to sprint to conclusions, ask 3 questions. 1. Is there new primary information or just recycled commentary? 2. Are friends laughing in the comments, or are they silent? Playful banter usually means the temperature is low. 3. Do the people involved respond by escalating words or be providing simple counter-imagery? If it's the latter, save your heart rate. The story is probably nothing more than the caption says, which is often nothing at all. And that brings us back to the hook. The tiny detail nearly everyone missed wasn't a ring, a reflection in sunglasses, or a background extra in the corner of the shot. It was the timing and tone of Justin's follow-up post with Hailey. No lecture, no shade, just here we are in an era of endless over-explaining. That's the flex. Didn't argue with the comments, how contented them. Same platform, better story. You don't win the timeline by yelling. You win by uploading a calmer truth. So the next time the internet tries to deputize you into the Kendall Justin Hailey, Selena MCU, remember, proximity isn't proof. Nostalgia isn't evidence. And if a relationship reality could be settled by one still image, none of us would make it past high school graduation. People are bigger than posts. Love is bigger than discourse. And sometimes a hand talking is just a hand talking. If you're still here, drop JB can't be stopped in the comments. Not because we need a team chant, but because you made it through a whole episode without letting their algorithms gaslight you. And that, my friends, are growth.